is a fabulous game, and I wished I'd brought it, but I had a flyer that came with it that featured a bunch more games that we're going to talk about in a second. But you guys are doing some clever stuff over there at Endless Games. Fabulous games that are good for everyone, but in particular, some of them have a special interest for kids who are on the spectrum. Tell us about Korner'd and why is this particularly good for kids on the spectrum?
Yeah, you know, it was one of those kind of just developments that came out of taking this game home when it was really still in its prototype form, playing it with my own kids, and then playing it with my nieces. I played the game, and just to kind of give you an idea, Korner'd is basically, it's a color pattern recognition game. You've got the game board and you have these tiles, and you're trying to place the tile on the board where the four corners match up with the colors. And really the hook of the game is that there's only going to be one spot where this tile and where all 36 tiles can be played on the board. So it's deceivingly difficult. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle.
It is.
Trying to find where the pieces go. So in any case, it was a little bit too difficult for my own girls. Their ages 3 and 6. But my nieces, it kind of, it seemed to be right in their age range. And my 11-year-old niece, Caitlin, is on the autism spectrum. And she's not normally the first person to jump up and want to play a board game. She'd rather do some things occasionally, you know, that are more solitary or things that may not have that anxiety level of a winner and a loser and the competition of a board game.
Right.
But we played this, and it was amazing, the personality and the confidence and everything that it brought out of my niece Caitlin. And I think, well, actually, now having played it over and over again, I've come to realize that this game, Korner'd, it plays to the strengths of a child on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
It's very right side of the brain driven. The pattern recognition, the colors, just the general format of the game. It's almost comforting, and it doesn't have that anxious buildup. It actually makes my niece, for one, feel very self-confident.
Yeah.
She became very outspoken when we played it. And it really just brought forth a great side of her personality that I don't get to see enough of.
Love it. Well, we played this in my house, and I have the board out and open here. First of all, it's good quality game, too. I love the fact that, and I'm making a mess here in the studio, I love the fact that it folds up, so it's not taking up a whole lot of space, but it's a well-made game, and I appreciate that as a parent. And as Brian was just saying, you have, we did it where we dealt out 5 cards to each person, and that it was open season, nobody got to take a turn, but you tried to be the first person to get all of your 5 tiles on the board. And my husband and my son and I were playing this, and we no sooner said go, I swear it seemed like we blinked, and my son said done, and he lifted up his hands, and my son's about to be 10, and my husband had not yet put a single tile on the board. And so we had a good laugh about that, and then we said, well, we'll just play one more round, and we helped my husband to figure out, because he didn't quite, he understood the game, but he was having a hard time figuring out how to play to his strengths to do it. And it was wonderful hearing my son explain, this is the shortcut, Dad. This is how you're going to be able to solve it. And having my husband figure that out. And then we just kept playing. We couldn't put it down. It was a little addictive, very fun. It was a very easy cleanup. Gotta say, I love this game. Very, very smart game. So
we appreciate the compliments there. One thing, just to echo your point there, of kind of that addictive element. We certainly strive to create games that you can play within a minute or two of opening the box. So we don't want to bore you with lengthy instructions, and we love it when you play it and you want to get right back into it and play another round and play it again and again and again. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. So tell me a little bit about Endless Games and how that came to be, and what some of the other games that you guys feature.
Sure. Strangely enough, the company Endless Games was formed in 1996. I was a part of it. the first game we did as a company was called the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And that was a game that myself and two of my college fraternity brothers, Mike Ginelli and Craig Fass, developed in college, in Albright College, Reading, Pennsylvania. And that was kind of a party game. And from there, we got into doing some TV game shows. We did the Family Feud. We still do the Family Feud. We do Password. For a while there, we did games like The Price is Right and the Newlywed Game. And then we got into kind of bringing the content out from our own sort of brain cells there. So we got away from doing the TV game show things there after a few years of doing those. And we put out probably our best-selling game to date in 2010, and that's a game called Name 5. And Name 5 was all about, can you name 5 breakfast cereal mascots, or can you name 5 foods that are blue, or name 5 songs by the Beatles, or anything that you can come up with 5 of. And it's that was a great party game that didn't quite have the same pigeonholedness, if there's such a word, as the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. You didn't have to be an expert in Kevin Bacon. It was name 5 of anything, whether it was movies, TV shows, foods, what have you. And once we did that, we really started to look internally at unlicensed concepts or stuff that was coming out of just everyday life. And we put out some other party games, one called Flippin' Out. We've got a great new one this year. It's called Oddly Obvious. I would encourage folks to check us out on Facebook, Endless Games on Facebook, and also at endlessgames.com. They can see everything we're doing. But then Korner'd came in from an inventor last summer, and it just sort of had that, what we look for in a game, that, quick, easy to learn how to play, and like we just said, that sort of addictive element. And it's been wonderful, and it's really been great to kind of ride this sort of roller coaster that started with a sort of a college party game, and as I became more of a family man, our product line sort of mirrored that a little bit. We did a great game that my own 2 daughters sort of consulted on, a game called the Cupcake Race, where you go around a board and build little cupcakes and things like that. And now to be able to share Korner'd with my niece, who we actually show on the back of the box.
Yes.
My niece Caitlin, right here. It's just been a fun ride, and it's great to be in an industry. I feel that board games are really one of the last pure sort of, areas where human beings can connect.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's a very social thing. And, it's funny that you bring up, the genesis of the company was party games. Games are a very social thing, and we teach our children a lot of social lessons when we play games. And I know that there are a lot of apps and things and getting into digital games, but we still, it's an important part of any ABA program that kids play board games, because you have opportunities to do taking turns and practicing telling white lies during some games, being able to process things really quickly. Board games are great for kids on the autism spectrum. I'm making a mess in the studio. But I think it's great that your games, the running theme through a lot of them that I hear is that they're great for social skills.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, when I say party game, it doesn't mean that it has to be a wild hang from the chandelier type of Animal House type of a scenario. But, you get the family and friends around the table. And I've always found that the best games are the ones where you sort of deviate off the path of the game board, and it leads to anecdotal stuff. It's name 5 songs by Pearl Jam, and then it turns into, do you remember when we first heard this song together? Or, it kind of inspires conversation, whether it's about your day or just about life in general.
Brian, do you guys have a kids version of Name 5?
No, it's funny you bring that up. It's something that I have been sort of leaning on my partners about doing, just because I know how my own daughters like to do it. And we can only do, my 6-year-old and 3-year-old can do things like name 5 Disney princesses and name 5 things from Nickelodeon. But the content right now, it doesn't cater specifically to their age group. And I think that that's something that we're looking to do in the future. But for now, we've got the main Name 5 version, and it's something that we are looking to do as a junior version eventually.
Okay, because I would love that, and I got to be honest with you, that would be awesome for kids on the spectrum too, because they work on categories when they're learning language, and so if there was a colorful game to go along with that, you'd have some takers.
You know something? Just there's one that we do. It's called Flipping Out. That is for ages 10 and up, and it can be played by anyone. My girls can get involved in this game. It's more of a team game, and that's the game where you get a category, and instead of naming 5, you have to flip over letter chips. So you've got every letter of the alphabet represented on little circle pogs, and say the category is produce, and I say bananas. So now I flip over B. B's out. Then you may say oranges. Now O's out. So you do the same sort of category and listing, and you eliminate the letter as you go. So that's called flipping out, and that one certainly fits that criteria.
That's fabulous. So again, if people want to know more about Korner'd and flipping out and some of the other games that you have, they can go to endlessgames.com.
That's right.
And you're also on
endlessgames.com, and we're on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and all those great social media sites as well.
Fabulous. Well, we have to have you back on before the holidays to feature. If you think of like 5 different games that you want to come on and feature, we'd love to have you on. We do a lot of toys during the holiday season.
That sounds great. I'll try to name 5 games with you guys.
Okay, that'll be cool. Great tie-in. Brian, thank you so much for what you do. And we also want to mention too that on the box, when they get Korner'd, they will see that you are a proud supporter of Autism Speaks. And
absolutely, and we do donate a portion of every Korner'd game sold back to Autism Speaks.
Fabulous
research.
Love that. Thank you so much. Clever stuff. Love your job. Must be a fun job.
It's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.